I don't feel that there needs to be any sort of like, here we are.
We have a button for that, do we?
Let's see if that works.
Yeah.
Just doing a lot of things on the screen anyway, like, so,
so yeah, dude, welcome. Thank you very much. What's the crack? You alright? Well, apart from the weather, I mean, seems pretty good. I've just finished what would be the best way to say it? I've just finished a really quite interesting cycle trip across Mexico. Right. Down south from Mexico. So I left from Los Angeles, went to La Paz, which is the bottom of the Baja.
okay.
And then ran out of money, as I continue to keep on doing, and then went back to work. And as I keep on doing, I either get fired, get bored, or quit. Because I've basically been doing the same job for 25 years. And I'm at a point now where I'm pretty much mostly bored with it.
Okay.
And so I'm good at what I do. But therein lies the rub. Because it's like, I can go in, everything's new, I'm interested and excited. And then within a month, I've resolved most of the issues that are there that I can see. And then it's just like,
What is it you're doing now?
So I work on super yachts. So for the super rich. So boats between, let's say, 40 and 60 meters. Big boats. And I'm the first officer, so next one down from captain.
How many people on that crew on
So let's say my land load was 3 meters, so we had 9 crew. So it's captain, me, chief engineer, chief stewardess, chef, 2 stewardesses underneath that, 2 more guys on deck, and deck up.
You're based out of Panama, right? Yeah?
No, so I just finished doing the Monaco Grand Prix.
Okay.
Which was I've done it before. Like, for the first time. And I said this to someone the other day. I did the first time in 2006. You're not. Of course, there's money everywhere. And the depth, the level of money, it's a different story. Like there's so much more money, and I feel that the way that the money is being shown is very different. So back then, people were a lot more subtle about what they had. They obviously had the money because they obviously had the yachts, right? They were all there, and it wasn't all party. Like, it's all party now. It's all who's got the, we've got this DJ coming, or the boat directly next door to me had a Bugatti Chiron on board. It's like a €4 million car. Just sat there
on the boat.
Just sat there on the boat. It doesn't live there. They hired it for the event so that they could look cool. I'm like, hang on. It's a bit self-serving, isn't it? And there's a version of how much wealth is in the world now. I just don't like it.
And this kind of bounces back onto the conversation we were just having a little bit about what's your balance, like the fucking power structures that are in place with all the money. What's the end goal? What's the end? Having all the money and the power.
Let's see.
They're playing the game hard, right? Like, the people that have got the money now, there's more of them that have got more money. But then also the people that have got more have got so much more than they've ever had. Like, you take it away from like what kings and queens were like. The level of difference between the haves and the have-nots is so vast that I don't really know what it is that they're after. Because they've got the money and they've also got the power. If they've got both those things, then they must have the control as well. Yeah. Because you think that those three things come together.
I find it difficult to find understand that there's more money in the world. I feel that there is always sort of the same amount of money. But there must be this massive chasm, this a bigger chasm that's been created over the last many years. I know, I understand exactly what you're saying. And it does seem like a different world.
Yeah.
In a way. For me, I'm not quite sure I'm interested in that world. And it's not a sort of because I don't have it, I'm not interested feeling. It's a bit boring. In a way, they have the Bugatti sitting on the boat.
If someone who had the Bugatti sitting on the boat said, "Do you want to come and DJ in the mail?" like a sort of party and pay a big fucking money. Is that the level of interest? Are you interested in that, or what's the level?
Good question. The straight
I
answer.
think that could be
Don't-
fun as shit.
I know the answer.
Shit,
is
if you're going to one of these
Yeah.
parties, one of the DJing, pulling in, like drinking all that
Yeah.
fucking regular shot,
Yeah.
sipping regular shot.
Yeah, but I feel that it's, well, obviously it's a hypothetical question, so to give you a hypothetical answer, is that I would,
Yeah, it's completely hypothetical, but it's where does the lack of interest lie?
the lack of interest lies in the sense that I am content of the direction that I'm going, and I'm not,
that's a good question.
I'm not hungry for what somebody else has. Like coming back to answer, like if somebody offered me a certain amount of money to play a Monaco, yeah, of course I would play it. It's the same as if somebody offered me a certain amount of money for a piece of my art. Is that yeah, I'd be interested in selling it, because at the same time, it's that getting value for what you create.
Yeah.
Getting value for value that I feel is worth what I create. It's such. I have like any artist, so like any artist, so they always want to sort of sell more or produce more, and things like that.
That's exactly what I was going with.
Yeah. But I've been sort of blessed to have nice collectors, who appreciate what they're getting. Like I would stop talking. I would I get very itchy about somebody who is looking for a piece of art to go with their cushions or curtains at home.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Is that not? Is that not how it works?
Not always, right?
No, it's. I feel that.
Like colours.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can do it. There is that, obviously, but there's that's why IKEA, that's so big.
That's yeah.
Is because you can go to the IKEA and get art to go with your cushions and curtains and decoration and stuff. And
But then,
yeah,
I don't think that's art. I don't in any way.
Someone's creating
I don't
behind the scenes the original.
understand.
Yeah, I don't.
I live in a world where I can see things that are beautiful from like how I look at things. But I look at some stuff and I don't understand. And I don't understand. So I really love bikes. I can look at some bikes and the way that they're built, and I'm like, you know what? That's art. Like I can see that from my point of view. But then I look at some other stuff, like some of the. I watched one recently of a guy with a massive spinning block of clay, and he was holding his face up against the spinning block of clay. And then some guy ended up buying it for some ungodly money. And I don't understand what's going on there. And it's not that I think that the art is nonsense. It's just I don't understand. I can't look at that and go, I can understand how you're signing, how you were signing that. I don't get it.
I 100%. You're 100% true. It's just I don't feel that there's any art in the world. I don't, because if I start going down the road saying that's bad, and comparing myself to everything else, or comparing other art to other art, so it's similar to comparing languages.
Yeah.
There's art we just don't understand.
Yeah, that's where I like it. That's where I want to say it.
That's cool. This reminds me that I think I mentioned this before, the GEZ that I used to DJ a few years ago, and I was in Stuttgart with a friend, and we went to the Kunstmuseum in Stuttgart. It was about 15 years ago, and we were in the museum, Contemporary Art Museum, and she was working for the Royal Shakespeare Company at the time, or a Shakespeare company. And she said to me, "What do I think of this art?" And it was a big fucking purple painting. Literally just a pure purple painting. And my head is going, it's a fucking purple painting. That's what I did. But then she said to me, actually, okay, you play music, blah, blah, blah. What, if you were going to put a piece of music to that piece of art, what would you put to that piece of art?
Yeah.
And then I looked at it different. I looked at it through a language that I understood. So I was using my own experience to kind of look at the piece of art. Like a lot of stuff I do, is it's been described to me by people who like it, that it's got this childlike atmosphere, it's got this sort of childlike feeling to it, so it's probably just expressing who I am. I can't draw the perfect hand, but I can't draw the perfect face. I simply try and capture the emotions I'm in at the time. So everything's an expression of emotion and such. And there is things I find beautiful and things I find not interesting. And especially people who go around just looking at guy buying art to go over the cushions and the curtains at home, specifically for that, because it takes away. At the same time as well, like, you look at the art different the way I look at the art.
Right.
You look at it through your eyes and emotions and experience of life.
And it resonates with you as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've sold I've sold pieces in the past, and the people who collected the pieces have said to me it meant something different to them. And I kind of learned to step back from that. Not to allow my sort of note doesn't mean that.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. So it's like a song as well. Like songs mean different things to everybody else. Like a Rake Me by Nirvana means a lot to somebody else than it means to this person.
Yeah.
But it meant a lot to the artist who wrote the piece of music.
Right.
So it really just depends on the situation.
I was in, well, you bring up music.
Yeah.
Resonates differently. So I was cycling along the road in the middle of nowhere in Mexico. And I was listening to something recently done in country, like modern country. Which is a massive musical genre, which I didn't know it was. Anyway, there's this guy that came out recently, Oliver Anthony, is his name? The other guy, big ginger beard.
No.
Richmond, north of Richmond. He was on road because he just went viral, right? Anyway, so we've got this song, and I'm cruising along minding my own business. The last one was great, I was like, yeah, cool. Having what I thought was another time. And I'm cruising along the road, and I break into tears. Just listening to that song. Hang on a minute. What's going in there? Because I get emotional every time I listen to that song. I'm not particularly sure why, but there's obviously something inside of that. And I think that happens with music for me personally, that's more often than with any other form of art. I've got a friend who likes to go to museums and she likes to go there and cry. To be overwhelmed by the beauty that it is. And I don't get that personally. Not from her point of view, but I just don't, that's not the way it affects me. But I get that from music quite often. I'll chuck on a symphony or something really classical. Something, which is why I was asking you earlier about the soundkeeping thing. Because I can feel tangibly that there is something inside of the music that's like, hang on, it's whatever it is doing.
It's I think what I feel is with all creation, art creation, anything that touches me is something that connects to my emotions, my thought processes, and it can be really blatantly handed to you on a plate. It can be a picture of a woman crying and holding a baby, I don't know, whatever the fuck, that can really, I get that, that's touching me. This all could be a piece of music where the lyrics are the thing that takes you into the feeling or the emotion or unlocks something. I think the difference with the sound healing thing that we were talking about earlier on a little bit is that, these instruments designed in a way that these glass bowl things that the singing bowls, the glass singing bowls, some wooden jobby around the rim jobby thing they ring around the rim.
Yeah, we still talking about bowls there, but
no.
So.
degree.
Let's go with so.
And then if you look, so these bowls are tuned at certain frequencies, 420 frequencies are, and then obviously you've got there's a huge like gong, which also super low resonance, and so these things are not so like direct. They're not so like, okay, this is the message that we have for you to connect to. It's more like there's these frequencies and these spaces that are created with the frequencies that you can sort of drop into on an energetic level. Untapped emotion, untapped feeling, untapped state that you don't normally step into because of everyday life. You know, you've taken a moment for yourself to go and enjoy it, the sound healing thing. You've really gone, okay, I want to disconnect from everything else. I'm just going to be with myself. And these frequencies tune in or you tune into the frequencies. And you can get, you know, a range of experience with the same way that, you know, you're listening to the big red beard guy on the bike, this big red guy. In the same way that it touches you deeply, these frequencies are kind of designed to touch you deeply and allow you to travel, you know, let your mind go, wander.
Yeah. Do you think that's what it is then? Do you think that it would? So I think that a lot of the way that some of the modalities of therapy work is that, because look, if it works, like I was saying earlier, right? If it works for you. It doesn't really matter to anyone else if it works. I think maybe there's a little bit of placebo in there. It's like if you're going somewhere for an experience that you want to be having, you get the benefit from it if you're willing to be in that space and get that from it. It's like, how do you extract value from something? It's like, hang on, the piece of art, like, well, how is it that I get value from a €2 million painting or from a €10 painting? Like, you know, basically the same thing, but you've got to do. I think you only do the value return, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But a hypothetical question for me would be, I wonder if you get humans of all different, you know, backgrounds, ethnicities, wealth status, perceptions of what the thing is, specifically the sound healing experience. My question is there a unified experience with lying down, being washed over with sound? For me, yes, because it's all energy, frequency,
Vibrations, isn't it?
vibrations, and regardless of, I know we love this conversation, regardless of your thoughts and your perceptions on it, if there are vibrations hitting you, these vibrations are set at a certain frequency, the potentiality for it to wash through your body and open something up that just wasn't open before, I think it's a universal shared experience with all humans, because we are always affected by, you know, our surroundings, and so it's a question. I don't know, but I feel that you could put anyone in that mix, and they would experience something regardless of if they believe they're going to or they're not.
Ooh, okay.
So taking the placebo effect out with that specific modality, I mean, we can get into other areas of therapies and you know, other levels of sort of esotericness with the therapies, but yeah, you know, you question all.
Why were you chatting about sound baths? Is it something that you are going to be looking to experience yourself, or something that?
I just received a message before someone's interested in something advertised, which is a combined sound healing and psilocybin experience.
Okay.
So this again jumps back a little bit. I think again, or if anyone has listened to the last podcast that we were speaking with Matt, this jumps into the layering of, you know, I asked you the question about the mantra and
Stand or Engeka. Say,
so the mantra and the mandala that you look at in the layer psilocybin, you know, it's a similar kind of thing. You know, there is a potential spiritual healing experience with the sound healing. You've got the potential spiritual experience, healing experience with the mushrooms, and then you put these guys together and fucking union with God.
yeah, it's like,
So there's a thing coming up. That's what we're talking about.
yeah. You know, I've been through a couple of like yoga sound bath. You know, it's a gong bath, basically. You know, in Rama here, in Palma, you know, and you know, it's a nice experience. It's a nice, you know, you do feel the energy, and you do feel sort of what's happening, you know. But as you were saying, you know, it is. It doesn't exist, but not. I mean, it's not. I would say it as a placebo, but it doesn't exist by itself.
Right.
You know, there's something else always happening. The sound bath is happening for a reason. You know, it's like going to a concert. You know the band Placebo, don't you?
Yeah.
All right. So when we go to a Placebo concert, you know, we're going because we expect placebo music. You know, and we get something like a lot of people who get. You hear sometimes they go like, no, I don't like their new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, their old stuff is better. You know, they only played 2 of their old songs or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, a friend in needs, a friend of weed, a friend indeed, a friend of weed's better. So, I get what you're saying completely. There is always that sort of, you know, placebo always strikes me in a sense that there's some sort of experiment going on.
Yeah.
You know, some sort of like, that, not, I don't think trickery is the right word, but some sort of, like, non-meaning behind the purpose of why you're actually there, you know. And I feel like even if you're going to go to an art gallery, as such, you know, and the light come bouncing off the painting is just a similar vibration, you know, as a wave, you know, the same sound, you know. So you'll get that, I like it or not, feeling from it, you know. And though I do understand that, you know, as we were talking about the mantra thing the last time, you know, I have a particular, I've been practicing Buddhism for a long time, you know, so I have a particular spiritual practice. And my wife also, my wife has just come back from a yoga, teacher training thing, you know, in a monastery here in the island. You know, and one of the things that she was speaking about, that they were speaking about, is the use of mantras, you know, and the vibrational effect of mantras. You know, then my little I'm not a scientist, but my little 2-year-old scientific head is wanting to understand what the mantra is, and also why am I saying the mantra? What's this about? What does this mean? Well, I understand my own Buddhist practice, but it takes you a long time to do that. If somebody says to you to chant, for example, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo repetitively, you know, you'd be going, why the fuck am I saying this? What's that mean? What's the purpose of this? You know, and you know, it's that sort of thing that we have to get our heads around. Look, if you're going to do it for a therapeutic sense, I feel that you need to be open to it being therapy.
Yeah.
You know, you need to be...
So going into it with intention.
Yeah. No, like, I'm not sure intention. Maybe just, it's okay not to have an intention. Maybe going into it just wanting to have an experience.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that's the intention.
Yeah.
You know, like, the first time I went to a ceremony here and experienced a sort of a mushroom ceremony, you know, it was stated to me, you know, to have an intention. I hadn't a fucking clue what that meant. You know,
I still don't know.
You know,
like we've talked about it at length.
Yeah.
I don't really know what it means.
Yeah. You know, so so I do understand that.
Like tension, intention.
Separate word.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that one of the things that's interesting about management is that right, so I'm not of any particular faith,
this is it.
but I would probably think that what it's there for is to quiet the mind, right? Because obviously you're trying to put your mind into a place where it isn't. Because it's a tenet of the whole meditative approach, right? Saying, oh, right, we're going to repeat this repetitive idea. It's just, this is going to center myself away from the external world, bring it more into the inside, right? I think that's probably what most of the things that people do are. Like, I think if you were to take away most of the nonsense, I think you'd probably look at that. I think that's a problem. I don't know if I think that's what prayer is. I think that Eastern and Western traditions are very, very different. I think that you're probably turning around and going, I'm going to do this repetitive thing so that my mind silences.
Prayer's probably the same thing, right? It's just.
Don't think it is. I have to think about that a bit more.
Right.
Prayer would be more of an intention.
Yeah.
Like,
More of
intention.
and mantra not.
Mantra, I feel that's a good point that you make. I actually think that because the mantra is quite meditative.
Yeah. But it also roots you right here.
Surely prayer should be the same thing. I think the intention behind prayer is that it's achieving the same thing as a meditative mantra. You repeat these words through your system.
But you don't repeat a prayer like that. You do a prayer with the intention of going, I want this thing to manifest itself in the future.
But the rosemary, is it the rosary? Rosary, not rosemary.
Yeah.
God, I remember my roots so well.
Yeah.
So you've got a certain amount of beads on the thing. Sure, exactly. It's in sevens or something like that.
Yeah.
And you repeat the prayer. So it's a mantra. You're just repeating this thing to check your own internal, because you're not necessarily saying it out loud either. You're just doing it inside. So you're really doing very similar practice as a mantra in prayers. You're doing I think mantras are more well.
So it's the rosary is type.
Yeah. So there's these very similar prayer and mantra. I feel like there's an overlap somewhere in that it's trying exactly dumb out the outside, reflect, go on to the inside. But also, I imagine if you're saying the mantra or saying the prayer, somehow it's changing your internal frequency as well. Because your own vibration, your own vocal cords vibrating at a certain level are going to be affecting your system. Like your vibration going through your system is going to be realigned with sharpness.
Yeah, then it's the two of them go together. I think so. I feel that the two of them go neatly together. That the prayer gives the mantra substance.
Yes.
And like a direction and an intention of why I'm doing the mantra. Like to take my own mantra, for example, such as Nam is Sanskrit for I devote myself to. And Renge basically means the law of cause and effect. Mm-hmm. Now I might have loads of things that I would hope happen in my life while I'm doing this. So those hopes and fears and the reason I'm in front of my mandala doing my meditation vocally and with my eyes open is that I'm there for a reason. I'm there to become happy. So my prayer is to become happy, and other people to become happy, and through any sort of metaphysical sort of practice out there, that these mantras, then, as you were saying, they're both saying it. I mean, it allows us to kind of have that sort of boxed in feeling, not boxed in, but that sort of I'm here now feeling. Now I'm doing this. And I always found it difficult doing sort of silent meditation, because my mind is all over the joint. Yeah. I'm nothing against it, but for me, I find it difficult, but using the mantra and being able to meditate that way through sound, it allows me to find what And there's defining that prayer, that what I really want. I used to chant for cocaine sometimes when I was years ago, and it happened that the guy answered the phone, so, but it wasn't the best thing for my life, so sometimes the prayers are shit. Sometimes the answer to the prayer is no.
Yeah, right.
As well, so we're praying for the wrong thing, we're chanting, we're intending, we're searching for the wrong thing.
So,
On
on that search, kind of on the topics that I wanted to check in with you on, I thought was fascinating. I've known him for 10 years now, easy. 2014. Yeah, 11. Maybe 11.
Let's say 10 or 11 years.
And a reoccurring theme is searching for meaning. I mean, I've been very, feel like I found purpose. Feel like I found.
It's for kids.
I've got kids, and also that I'm doing work that I find super fulfilling, and
I think those things have brought you into a life.
Yeah, 100%.
Whatever that happens.
Well, I do feel it's a reoccurring.
For me,
yeah,
my life is absolutely
and it sounds
meaningless. But then at the same time, I'm okay with that, because that's here's the thing. Ultimately, that's true, right? The only thing that we're here for is to have kids and then look after them a little bit, and then we go, right? That's basically what life. So it sounds very nihilistic.
I get you. Yeah.
Which I'm not.
Yeah.
So your jobs
are a conversation with times.
I think our jobs inside of the world is to make life meaningful for yourself, right? And that can be fun, it can be sane, it can be rose, it can be art, it can be, finding deeper contentment within whatever realms of the world you want to be in. That's how I'm saying that, yeah. And like I've been searching for it for a long time. If I'm going to be honest with myself, the likelihood is that we've had this conversation before. I think there's a version of who I think I would have been by the time I got to my old age that I am now.
Mm.
How old are you?
43.
Okay.
44 in the year. I think.
What you doing?
I think it's
welcome to the podcast. Thanks for this down.
Podcast anonymous.
So I think that, I think that there is the person who I thought I was going to be. When I was growing up, the world in which I was born into, the kind of things that your parents kind of say, this is the society in which you live.
Thank you. I didn't get that for you. All right.
Yeah, the world kind of comes around and says, like, it's probably the route you're going to take. Yeah.
Mm.
And so I've lived a life that has been relatively interesting, I'd like to think at least. But it hasn't led me towards the things that kind of ultimately give people meaning in the world. Home, family, kids. And I think those things are important. I'd like to still hope that that's where I'm going to go. But the older I get, the more confidence the older. The older I get, the more I get to look at the world and go, maybe that's just not what I think I've been trying to come to terms with in the last couple of years is if I really don't think I am driving tough. Because there's only so many options to get in the world. And that's not to say that, older men can't have kids, of course, it's not what I'm saying. It's just nested inside of the world I live in and the way I live my life. And actually the way I enjoy living my life. And that's I'm very, very lucky to find someone who's going to, either, there's this idea that I have, which is, there's always been people that have sat by the fire. Right? Be that, from time immemorial. And what's happened is that, there was people who sat by the fire and then they moved. And whatever they were searching for, possibly meaning, possibly, just going out and finding new hunting grounds. But then some of those people, they found something that brought them back to the fire. And what I've always hoped is that that thing would pull me in. I always wanted not life to kind of collide and bring me into it, but for not to have to make a choice, but to just go, okay, cool, I can stop. I can be here, and like that's the thing I want. And then, because here's the thing, it's all compromise, right?
Do you feel something's missing?
Yeah. Yeah, I've been for a long time. Probably 12 years. 12, 11, 12 years.
So,
Got a good story about that. But it's another story.
so obviously, yeah, so that's the point of the search.
Possibly.
Do you keep coming back to the same answer? Like, so,
No.
so as long as I've known you, exactly the thing that you touched on a little bit before, work, blah, 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 something happens that you don't work, and you go. You get on your bike, and you do these awesome tours, parts of the world, interesting parts of the world. Yeah, it's fascinating. Fascinating.
Yeah.
It's like the
But is
with me everywhere.
Yeah, of course. When you're there, you've got no distraction from work.
And the luggage is not leavable. I haven't been able to leave the luggage anywhere yet.
But my question is that the answer that you keep going back to with that particular searching? Nothing, no distractions, no things. Is that the thing that you keep coming back to?
No, it's just like there are ways in the world where I can have things make sense and I feel comfortable. And I feel very comfortable getting out there in the world. It's not that I get to come back and I've got like I fear that I'm missing out. So it's not like I've got FOMO. But it's the case that I'm here. I somewhat feel like I'm not wasting my time is wrong. It feels like I'm just not doing something. Not doing something. I don't know what that something is. But like I'm content when I'm out on my bike. But then that said, like shit falls apart when I'm out on my bike.
Do you know who you are?
Oof. No. I think that would be, but then, do I think anybody does? Some people do, yeah, of course. I've done a lot of work, like at looking who I am and how I do things in the world. And that's not to say that I don't mess up a lot, but I'm comfortable with who I am. Whether or not I know who that is, I don't know if that's the case, but I think that I'd like to think that the way in which I live my life is the people that are important to me know who I am. I think that's for me that's really important. Yeah, that's what I think. And so I don't really know if it's important that I know who that is. But I turn up to be the person that everyone else thinks I am.
Do you find the purpose and do you find the purpose that do you find it that is a purpose actually to find the people that know who you are?
Yeah, and one of the things that I've noticed over the last 4 or 5 years is that I've significantly put myself under more willingness to sacrifice my own life for the people that are important to me. So a couple of years ago, like just before COVID, 2018, there was a big talk that we were going to be going through like a deep dark recession, which they're also talking about for this year, right? And I remember looking at my life and going, right, there are ways that I can help the people that are important to me. And the best way for me to do that is to earn a lot of goddamn money. Because you know what? It's a tool. Probably the best thing that I can do. And so I managed to help a lot of the people that are really important to me. Which is a good thing, I think, in general, you know? But yeah, I think it was probably important. But there is also the bit that I kind of like to be looked after. But I'm not willing to turn around and let anyone near close enough to turn around and go, yeah, cool, I can let you do that. Which ultimately, I know was a fucking weakness. Because that's my inability to turn around and give someone else the.
No, what do you mean let you do that though? So you let somebody that kind of sounds that you're afraid of letting somebody have power to not let you do something.
No, as in there's a reason that we like to give to the people that are important to us.
Okay.
Because it's the thing that the giving is.
Okay, understand.
Right? And if you don't let people give, then you're unwilling to let those people give that to you.
It's this receivership sort of thing. To receive things.
Yeah.
You know, and we close her down. By doing what you're saying, we can close ourselves up. We close ourselves down to actually receiving what we
Yeah.
need ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm pretty, so coming back to do I know myself well enough to say that that's definitely part of it.
Mm.
Definitely turn around people that, oh, well, let's have a conversation about it. I'm like, cool. Almost all of it. Relatively good at flipping it completely upside down. Like, that all the time.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, that's not to say that most of us aren't. Like, 'cause I think a lot of us do that. We dodge by turning around. Actually, no, heck no. How is it going to help you? You know?
This is
Shit. So, the fact that my last relationship fell apart, spectacular. Yeah. Yeah.
This is a self-destruction podcast.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to see what comes up.
Oh, it's a horror story. Like, I wouldn't put any,
No worries.
no, I'll tell you the story. But like, I wouldn't say like any, I wouldn't put anything through it. So
Okay.
I work on these super yachts. They're amazing places.
Yeah.
Great money. I've been working ex-fiance, my girlfriend, and then turned into fiance. We were working on a small boat, 7 crew. So her and I shared a cabin. I had some friends on the boat. They all were friends. So I thought it was my fiance. And at one point, I found out that she's cheating on me with the chef on the same boat. It's a very small environment. And I didn't find out. I probably knew. I don't have the memories to be able to look at it and tell you that I can't remember. But thinking about the person that I am, I knew. And then we were in Miami, and we've been going to the same hotel bar. I was in there one day. A girl from my bar, she was like, "Hey, when's the blonde girl and her boyfriend coming in?" What? See, the blonde girl and her boyfriend, but you know, that's what fiance in this poor girl's face. Like, her face fell apart. She's like, "Oh my god!" And then it kind of, I think, because I don't know, it all clicked, and like everything came together. And as talking about self-destruction, as close as I have ever gone to stepping out of the whole thing. Yeah. I mean, murder wasn't far from my mind.
Murder suicide?
No.
That's a sequel.
She was burned. And don't get me wrong, like, I was working with some interesting humans at the time. And well, the guys turned into me. Honestly. And someone says, "Hey, look, we can just take him up to Florida." It's like, "Look, just take him up there somewhere." Like alligators. I'm like really lucky. I'm not particularly an angry person, so
Yeah.
let's go to. But like that shut all of the world thing because that rocked who I thought I was. It rocked who the people I thought were friends on the boat. I lived for years, but nobody told me because they don't do. So it rocked both the relationship that I thought I had and my ability to make choices to find people that I could love
And trust.
and trust. Oh, would like to think that I'm pretty much mostly kind of okay from that now. But just clearly that's not the case. Because it can't. Because the actions that I make in the world still guard me from going, "Cool, I'll let you in the way." Yeah.
Do you feel it's different, especially as a man, in that sort of situation?
I think women are better, luckily they're just better able to talk about stuff. I also think that men, for the most, we as men, as some men, are more unwilling to turn around and be vulnerable with each other.
Yeah.
That's a fact. Because it just is. Because it's like, hang on. But the problem inside that is that there are human beings. I'd go toe to toe. Like, if you tell me where we're burying the body, we're going. Like, it's not an issue, right? However, it's like, "Oh, cool, let's have a really deep conversation about the reason your life's shit." Like, I don't know about that, but I'm willing to go to prison for you. It's like, I think that's
sort of that's just kind of what I'm trying to talk about, but bringing up. So it's like I feel it is different for a man in a way, because society is that you have to be a man type of thing, and when you are betrayed, it has you're not allowed to kind of live this thing,
or just don't cry about it.
Or leave it, but at the same time leaving for the alligators. We have that sort of that particular type of ego, they kind of come straight out, you know, is that, and especially if friends are involved and things like that, you know, is that everybody's going back.
Yeah.
You know,
it's ultimate betrayal, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, revenge that betrayal is kill everyone.
Yeah, no, it's
Everyone.
Yeah.
Fuck them all, because they represent everyone to you. They represent friends, intimate relationships.
I know what you're saying.
In that moment, I feel like that kind of trauma for anyone can really blow you on a, like,
that's where
could potentially,
that's where most people fall off.
It feels like, I wonder how,
Because that's a psychotic break. For all intents and
for
purposes.
sure. Yeah, and then it's self-destruction. Either way that you go,
Goes on the edge. Like, I take one step.
either way that you go, kill the guy or fuck it all and carry on and drink and sniff and blah blah blah.
Yeah, well, you change the balance. You know, you get away from everybody who was in your world then.
And that's exactly what I did.
You know,
I went back to Scotland.
Yeah.
I went and did some photography in Scotland.
Yeah.
I was away for a while.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So step back.
Can I ask you? No.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask that. I'm going to say off. Have you ever thought about sound healing?
Actually, can I say that? Because for the most part, I think it's nonsense.
I think your intention in going into this experience should be to completely heal and forgive
Because I think
everyone
it's
around
most But
yourself.
so one of the interesting things that happened to me off the back end of all of that is that I went real deep. I did a massive deep dive into so neuro-linguistic programming.
okay.
A way to control people.
No, as a way to as a way to heal people, right? So I looked at it and I was like, hang on, there's a therapist that I can look at it, I can fix the things that are going on in my life, and then I can turn around and help other people at the same time. So I did NLP, timeline therapy, and hypnosis. And one of the things that you do when you're there is the guards are like, look, if you've got problems to work through, the best way for you to understand if this thing actually works is to try to learn it on yourself. And so you're sat there, you know, you're doing these week-long missions of diving into this thing. Like you're using language to kind of deep this way, and then there's and stuff that you kind of use. And that's why it works. But a result of a lot of things. Not saying it doesn't work. What's it like works? NLP has actually been found not to work. It's basically pseudoscience.
But it worked.
But then it worked, right? So.
But is this thing is not like you have theoretical proof, documentational proof, but you need actual proof.
Yeah, if it works, it works.
Yeah,
I think ultimately that's the case. Yeah, and so I think I'm ultimately glad that I went and did that because I think it was as close to therapy as I think I've gone through.
Okay.
Because I've also tried therapy. Because I don't think it's designed for. I think conversations like this is how we are supposed to fix things as men.
I feel so. Yeah.
Sit around the campfire and just talk.
Right, I do feel that, but I also feel that maybe the reason that women can kind of pass through things easier, maybe, is because it might not necessarily like fixing them. I think because you know most therapeutic modalities or psychotherapy or whatever, your intention going in is to fix the broken thing. But actually, I think what is beneficial about these type of conversations is we're not offering solutions, we're not offering a fix. We are just offering a space for what I would like to create with the people around me, is to offer an open space, non-judgment, for you to, or for anyone to feel what they need to feel, connected to whatever they need to feel on, and not distract from it, which is really difficult as men. What we do as men is we do it massively. You know, things are shit.
Yeah.
You know, that's the first thought of like, let's make a joke and fucking move on to the next piece of conversation.
I think
can solve something.
I think there's something in there, right? And I think that what happens is that we use humor like that as a tool. But also we use these conversations not to turn around and say, hey, I'm going to give you the solution, but it's like, you went through this thing. Oh, and what tends to happen in these conversations is I went through something similar, and then you get a little bit of relief because someone else is going through it. It's not just you. It's not you as an individual fighting against the world.
Yeah.
This also, maybe there is a little thing that you learned that you might share from having the conversation, and that kind of just opens a little doorway. You're like, it's all right.
But that's
I think that's what
actually
we
the lower unintended consequences in the sense that exactly what you're saying, just by sharing from your experience has shone a different perspective or a bit of light on the person who's going through whatever they're going through.
Yeah.
So that's without the intention of being, I'm going to share this to fix, to help. It's just it's an unintended consequence of being open, honest, and vulnerable with each other as well, which is fucking hard.
Of course it is.
It's really good.
I met an interesting guy when I was in Baja because one of the interesting things I find about people, right? Because they like us. They're out in the middle of nowhere, some random dude, and they're out. And so I like to have that question. And the question is conversation.
Yeah.
Like, it's probably because I like the idea that maybe there is an offer, like maybe there is something I can do, or I can, because I think the listening is super. We sat down one night, in and around the campfire, but usually not always a day, so you're actually physically tired, the brain is also tired. And I said, why am I here? You ask people that, and the immediate answer is, I want to go and have a look at the beauty of the world. I want to experience new places. I want to drink the local drinks. I want to have a look at something amazing. And then when you get to that burden of tired, turns around and breaks down, and you start talking about the fact that the door had just died. Possibly of some complications that, unfortunately,
Covered.
Yeah. And that's why That's why right here, trying to figure out how he wasn't there. And couldn't get back before she died. He was broken years ago. But like not, that was better shit. So and he's done some amazing work off the back end of that, right? So he's put loads of money to have defibrillators put in and around areas. Like so and like something that he's managed to make something good come back. Like there's something really.
I'll take some fucking digging and
Dude.
Get through that. Well, not even get through it, but just to pass through it in enough of a sense that you can do something positive in the world after it, and not fucking. That's
It was good.
it's really impressive.
Conversation.
It's just making me think of how transformative and purpose actually may be. Because when you have the children and the wife and the daughter and the house and the kids and the job and stuff, you think this is the purpose. But when that's gone, then there's a purpose in it being gone. If you feel that everything needs a purpose, maybe there's a possibility that things don't have a purpose. Things.
That's what I think. That's where I am. I think
Right. Okay.
purposeful, not meaningful. But what we have to do is derive meaning from whatever things that we want.
I get you. 100%.
I feel that there's meaning and purpose in this conversation.
Yeah.
I also think that's something that you said about being like directly rooted in the present moment. I think that really, really it's really important. Because this is the only place that we'll ever live. Like we can't live in our past. Sure, try. And one of the reasons we feel about stuff like anger or whatever, is because we're bringing that stuff into the present. And then we can only look at the future and go, hey, look, the future's there. I'm excited about it. I'm nervous about it. Anxious about it. By aggrandizing and like saying that that's real and tangible. It's not. You only get right here.
It's the only thing that actually exists, isn't it? It's this moment, and the next moment, and the next moment. And I do see what you're saying. It's just like because the more happier we are in the moment, the brighter the future, maybe, whatever that is, or the more hope that we have, or so the opposite, the less fear that we have, if we're feeling good in the present moment. But it's still fucking changeable. It changes all the time, and I feel that it's important to also to be aware that it does change. My wife will die someday. I'm not sure it's before me or after me. My father's coming here soon. He will die soon, within the next 10 to 20 years or so. Hopefully, not hopefully. Hopefully, hopefully he makes it in 30 years type of thing.
More time rather than less.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And it's important to kind of to have that wanting to see a future.
Yeah.
To want to see a future, and you get to that point that you don't care what the future is. That's the dark place. That coming back to what men are really good at finding, I feel, is finding that dark place, and finding that I don't see a future here. I don't see the future because I'm not feeling it now. So it's very easy to box ourselves off from the world, in a sense, and especially young men, when they don't feel as there is a future, then what is becomes the only thing, and then it's very easy to step away from that, because you feel that there is no future anyway. And I will be doing the world a brilliant favor of not being here. That's the kind of how I personally feel that it would possibly look like. I never got myself to the point that I wanted to kill myself, for example. I just haven't personally. But I have, like everybody else, I know people who have, and I know people who do. Yeah.
So I spoke a little bit about
Yeah.
To kill himself that way. Dying. And then another girl died. Don't know particularly from anyone, but somehow I reached out and we got in touch by something, I can't remember what. And there was I invested a lot of time to remind me excuse me. It pissed me off because everyone's so coming out to some of the stuff that we said.
Pisses you off in what sense? That they want to do it?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
The people step out. It's like, come on, there's majesty in the individual that every single one of us is. And yes, I understand the sentiment that when people are ready to commit suicide, take myself out of this equation, there'll be this magic inside of all of us.
Absolutely, but removing that from the world.
For sure.
Yeah,
Well, doesn't that kind of contradict a little bit the fundamental base, from my understanding of as far as what I heard from what you were saying earlier on, we attach the meaning. So essentially, fundamentally, there is no meaning. So what does that mean? There's magic in everyone.
Because each person has got a story only they can tell.
Yeah, but what we like.
But can I just ask one question? I don't want to change the subject. Just one question. From your point of view and the people you got through this, it's just one question. Do they feel as though they're doing the best thing for other people when they do it?
No, so going back to my story a little bit, I probably shared it before. I was in a massive heroin addiction, I was trying to get out of it, blah, 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 long story, I ended up under a bridge, and I got to the space where I felt so isolated, so alone, that I burnt all the bridges as far as I knew, with family, friends, society, everything. I was so isolated and alone, and the feeling of not being able to get back and to connect. That was where the kind of the decision for me came from. So I personally don't feel that I was thinking about it's better for so-and-so, it's better. It was like, I'm not even fucking missed. I'm not disconnected.
You also don't see a way.
Fucked up.
You don't see a way.
I couldn't see a way. The way out was, and I think I had this really deep understanding of it's always going to be painful. Like I've been hiding.
That's true.
I've been hiding. Yes, but I've been. My addiction. No, but this is solving.
I think you've got to imagine Sisyphus as being, because it's nothing but pain.
Syphilis is not.
Sisyphus.
I don't like syphilis.
You have to imagine that you have to be pushing the dollar uphill.
No, but this is where I was at. Where I was at was that it was like it's not any bit easy.
Yeah.
And that was, 30 years old. I avoided feeling a lot with heroin addiction for a long time. I'd come off the heroin a little bit. And I started feeling all the shit, and just on my own time, fucking painful bit of existence. And then the awareness of like, I was selling heroin to people. And that shit's going on all the time, everywhere. And what goes on with that is people are hiding from their pain, causing pain, hiding from their pain, causing pain. And then that goes on a bigger scale with wars and blah, 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 and this and that. It's just like, it's always going to be painful. So the idea of being so isolated, like distant, like step, it's fucking, for me, it was definitely a challenge one. Because everything up until that point, even though there was pain and there was so much beauty as well, like the childhood, the fucking, like the relationships, the beauty, the travel, South Africa, all these are made, like the addiction, the understand, like up until the point, that pivoting moment was like, okay, I tried, I failed, even failed at that. That's what a fucking massive failure I was. The life that happened after that, it's like that moment in Fight Club. You see that moment in Fight Club where, I don't know, they're in a shop or something like that. He steals money from the Chinese guy in the shop, and puts the gun to the back of his head. And he's like, he tells him, go home, go and see your kids, go and see your wife, go home. And he's like, that guy's breakfast tomorrow morning will taste the best that it's ever tasted. Like, because he had that moment of like really, really facing death and the end of it all. And then, so everything from that point on has just been like fucking magical bliss. So I'm not saying, for me personally, it was a fucking pivotal moment of being like, pain was great as well.
You're not advising it.
No, definitely.
No, it's a big try.
I'd be blessed if they've got that already. This is amazing. Even the fucking shit pain that I caused with my decision, blah blah blah. It's amazing. So getting syphilis, pushing a boulder uphill, I understand. So
you've got to imagine this happening. Yeah. So he was tasked by the gods to continue it. You have to push the boulder up. Yes, for the top of the gold thing.
what's it called?
Sisyphus.
Sisyphus.
So you've got to imagine it's happening because, like, ultimately, this is all pain and suffering. Everyone that you know, everyone that you ever care about will all suffer and die. Mm-hmm. Everyone will go through absolutely terrible things. Mm-hmm. What you have to be able to do is look at it and go, in spite of all that, what gives it purpose and meaning? What gives it meaning? What makes it beautiful? Because it is beautiful. And this is what I mean.
So the purpose is happiness.
No, it's true. No. Happiness is bullshit.
Happiness
is bullshit.
Happiness is nonsense. Happiness is emotion. Because you can feel happiness in any time, right? So one of the cool things that you can do with NLP is that you can use your memories to step inside the feeling at any point. And you close your eyes right now. We'll go through it. I'll show you. Close your eyes right now.
Well, then now,
Close your eyes right now.
My eyes are closed for anybody listening just to the audio.
What I want you to do is, as you sit inside of that memory, feel the feelings, hear the sounds, smell the smells, and really be with that feeling. And you can feel it, right? You can do that at any point. You can step into what that, like you could do it with pain, anger, and suffering. But of course, the reason that happiness isn't good enough is that it's too fleeting. Like you're only happy in the immediacy.
So the purpose
Is
back to his question.
the higher goal is the purpose.
I think it's acceptance. I think it's acceptance of the moment, exactly what we were saying before. Whatever's going on, whatever's current, whatever's the thing, as long as it's connected to now, acceptance of that, and then responsibility. So for me, the purpose would be not happiness, because again, that's on a sliding scale and it flickers through all the different feelings, emotions that you can feel. But purpose would be acceptance and responsibility.
So what would you call overcoming suffering?
Acceptance.
Yeah.
So when you accept something, then you would have happiness. By overcoming the suffering.
That again, no. For me,
If you accept, it would be better to accept that there's suffering rather than accept that there's happiness. To accept that there is suffering, everybody suffers. So we can't get away from suffering. We can't get away from birth, suffering, or death.
Yeah, but this sort of your exception, my acceptance, the acceptance of suffering and getting stuck in that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying acceptance of all of it. The happiness, the like acceptance.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah,
Not like I accept suffering and pain, therefore I want to get to happiness. That's my intention, that's my aim. It's, for me, the purpose is acceptance of all of it, whatever it is in the moment, not just the negative bits, but all of it. And responsibility in the sense of what is my responsibility to potentially shift that, change that, exactly like that
That's
little
the
exercise.
That's the future.
That little exercise that you just showed us now is a very small piece of the meditation, the chanting, the sound healing, all these little things that we do to try and shift. And we take responsibility to understand what is our connection to the pain and suffering. How did we create the pain and suffering? Because we're feeling it. So, but
you're not accepting the suffering. You're accepting that suffering exists.
I might be accepting that I'm in pain because something's happened. So I might be accepting my own personal suffering. But with my experience and different ways and tools that I've learned, I take responsibility for my personal suffering and shift it and transform it into content or acceptance or something else. So it's not, for me, that's where I find a lot of purpose. Not yes, I like that. It gets into a very selfish way of seeing existence, in the sense that, yes, I understand that there's suffering and that fundamentally there's, we will go through pain. But it's not just that. And even a kid in a war zone, torn thing, they will play. They will find moments of joy, and not just it's not just all suffering fundamentally behind it all in mind. But again, selfishly, I try not to connect to all that, and I just connect to my own needs. What's going on around me? What's the feelings that I get when I talk to my friends, family, when my father died? When, what, and how do I feel that and go through it? And not let that thing be the thing that defines my perception of reality.
Yeah.
Or my reality.
But you sound as though like we think in a similar way. I think we're all saying similar things. I do accept that we can't get away from suffering. Suffering is just one of those things that exists. And our 2 years what we were talking about, our purpose maybe is to find happiness over that suffering. Not just for ourselves, for others also. It's important for us to become happy, because we can't make somebody else happy if we're not happy ourselves. But on the airplane, they tell you on the airplane to put your face mask on first before you help somebody else. So it's important. no, these oxygen things, they come down, you know.
I'll box you.
That's that man using humor to get through our
It's touching something. It's all right.
You know, but I agree 100%. But I see it in the sense that it's okay to be selfish. You know, it's okay to fix yourself. It's important to fix yourself. It's important to know. It's important to make yourself become happy in some way, whatever that is.
Yeah, whatever you
know,
mean by that.
Exactly. You know, and that's that there's no this is happiness. You know,
To transform the mind.
Transform.
Quicker than
Yeah.
what we had before.
yes. You know,
So we can hold
Yeah.
our friends, hold our partners, hold the children in a sense of
allow other people
higher,
to become happy
higher
themselves.
vibrational space.
Yes.
Vibration
Yeah.
resonates with and affects other people. But fucking dude, like vibes affect vibes, dude. If I'm miserable, my fucking in the house, that shit permeates and
There's also maybe there's this as well. Like, say we give off heat. We give off heat in our body. Like, our bodies naturally give off. Our bodies naturally give off heat. You know, we do. Like, you can pick us up on infrared fucking cameras, right? So we naturally give off light. Then, sort of like just naturally give off heat is a form of light, basically, or something. And it's a wave. You know, and I do feel that if somebody's a fucking dick, right? You know, we pick that up. You know, because that person tries to make other people lower than themselves. You know, and if you're in a bad mood, you know, it's very easy to want everybody else to be in a bad mood also. Just to
reinforce
it, justify I am here, you know, sort of thing. And I feel that there's many different practices with the ones you're talking about, you know, anything that makes you happy. You know, but in a sense is also to share that happiness in a sense, you know, not to hold on to that yourself. I mean, if you do have a lot of people the way you have around you, GEZ, if you do share that light, for the want of a better explanation, than these two people that you help still be here, you know, they probably share that light.
I'd like to think at least they benefit
in some way.
So maybe exactly right. So it goes in a way, because it does.
It does, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it does, it reflects.
Yeah.
So it does, you know, and happiness reflects, the same as unhappiness reflects.
Yeah.
You know, so this, coming back to this sort of sound thing, is that, it's like anything else, is such, you know, is to have a go, have a laugh with it. Is to go with something that I feel is to go with something which is not going to hurt you or do you any harm, is to go and have fun with it. You know, because if you do go out of that high life state in a fun way,
yeah,
you know, then you naturally don't have those egoistic inhibitions. You know, to that little fucking idiot on your shoulder who wants to say, hey, that shit. And I want to tell the person who's sitting there home that shit. You know, that ego that comes up, you know, where you know what I mean?
She was the most negative person that I have met in years. And it got to a point where I don't want to spend any time with her.
Yeah.
So I just stopped spending time with her. I'm like, I can say good morning, super polite.
Yes.
That's the best way to be, but like, they would just draw you in.
People like that.
This is so good.
No, it's juicy.
This tomato's not as good as it could be. Yeah, but it's good for tomatoes.
Come on, it's fucking easy to get sucked into that. Shit about everything.
People bond like that through negativity. People bond. My wife has taught me this many times. It says, when you're like this, I must spend it. You know what I mean? So, and I get it. You know, and
I understand that.
that's why we see each other once a month. But you're 100% right. It's people do draw that energy or that light out of you, and it's about going through that negativity.
I think that's a nice.
For 1 hour and 17 minutes.
How do you feel with that?
And cool, yeah. Sweet.
Easy. Keep going. I can always talk.
You can keep going. Keep going.
Yeah, we had another 15 minutes or so.
Okay, cool. I'm going to pop the loo. You guys carry on.
Yeah, we're going. No worries.
Just second video.
Yeah, but it's been interesting actually, and a lot of similar things are coming up that I'm thinking about as well. The different thing, but I don't feel I have that sort of courage to kind of fuck off from everything. Basically, do you know?
It's also running away, right?
This is what I'm thinking. Like,
Because I already know that.
yeah, you know, as you mentioned earlier about taking your issues with you, know, your karma chases you. You know, like when we first, for example, when I first moved out of Ireland to Belfast, somebody told me to stop chanting to get on a plane. I mean, it's really easy to get on a fucking airplane. You know, you should be chanting to who's going to be your new friends.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's the local bar look like? You know, chanting for the cafe. You know, and things like that. You know, to kind of see a bigger picture. You know, to see more positive and to raise the cannon higher. I mean, trajectory that's something further behind that you never saw.
Well, I think that ultimately, if you're lucky,
Yeah.
your life kind of could be a case of like an upward slope. But inside of that, you're going to have ups and downs.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you, again, when you can musical flavor, it's like it's a waveform. But if you've got it trending upwards, then even the next low is going to be higher than the previous high. And if your life is trajecting, it's going that way, and you've got the ability to look at it like that, I think that no matter what, like, your life continues to get better. And better is only something that you can personally say.
Yeah.
Talking about, like, so we were talking about these people that I work for, Uber-loaded people that have gone on than God, for instance. And I wouldn't swap my life for any one of theirs. And it certainly feels that at the moment everyone's very, very financially. Oh, I need more money. I need to buy this. I need to get that. I need to get the new. I see these people's lives. They're not in any way, shape, or form the same as one of the three of us who could easily just go down to the cafe downstairs, sit with that cup of coffee, enjoy that cup of coffee for what it is. They'd be like, hang on, I'm wasting my time here. I could have had 3 meetings in this time. I could have, closed that deal. I don't have the ability to do that. These are closing deals. And that's where they live. But they don't, it's not like they're living our lives, but then they're also living. It's like they're just operating on a completely different way. And then they get there, and there's, what's his name? The Love Island guy, Chris Williams.
Yeah.
So he started talking about recently because he's kind of getting up there now. He's getting to a point where he's recognized in public, and he's got one of the coolest public studios out there. I was talking to Tim Ferriss recently. He said, how do you deal with getting to that level of fame? Because obviously now I don't know if people are coming to talk to me because they want to talk to me to be my friend, or because they know that I'm loaded and what are they trying to get out of me? Are they trying to get on the show? Are they trying to get this for themselves? And nobody wants to look at that. Nobody wants to go and look at how lonely people are. Because these people are like, they fly people to come in onto these boats,
Surround themselves
with people that they're not.
Okay.
They're not friends. They're not like. They're not in context of this. Okay, so we're just in Santa Fe, and then we're going to go somewhere else next. They're having all of these very, very surface level conversations. There's no depth. And of course, that's not to say there isn't any depth to those people. It's just like I can only imagine to get to a point that you're comfortable with someone, hoping that they're not going to try and rip you off from somebody. And then the kids.
This just sort of scares me, to be honest with you. I was recognized the other day with the bar for this podcast. It's all sorry now.
So, Jim?
Yeah.
It's his missus.
So,
Shout out to Jim. Don't feel this. Shout out to Sir.
and
Will. Shout out to Will.
Will, yeah, Will's good.
Yeah,
Will, the first time we done that was Will. It was great.
so without any shadow of explanation. He's one of the men that I've met in the last 10 years that I'm the most afraid of.
Mm-hmm.
The man that he's stepped into,
Yeah.
the responsibility that has been laid at his feet,
I took it.
and he took it, and he's completely changed his life.
Yeah.
And like I look at that guy from strength to strength to strength. I take my hat to it every time.
Yeah.
Every time I get the opportunity to send a message, I'm like, dude, you've got no idea how proud of you I am. Because I remember times in vintage, so I used to run one of the big public yacht bars or something. I remember times in there where it was, he was flirting with dodgy deals, and some ideas that weren't particularly savory, Because unfortunately, we also went through we lost some really good people inside of that world, Some guys that stepped off and they decided that suicide was for.
Okay.
And suicide is something that's really close to my heart.
Yeah.
Like, it fucking pisses me off.
Understand, yeah. As I say, I come from West Belfast, and there's a lot of suicide there as a young man, but I haven't experienced a lot of it myself. But my family have had a lot of their friends, young men actually killing themselves. The closest I ever got to it basically was that a friend of mine asked me to write to help him with his PhD or something at Queen's University, and I wrote this sort of dissertation, about suicide rate in West Belfast. And even though I have a lot of personal experience of it, and as I say, the closest I don't mean to be smart, I'm not making a fucking sick joke. It's just like, but it was a week later, my cat threw itself out a window. Do you know what I mean? That's the closest I got to that sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? So
Did it die?
It did die. So
Yes.
it died. But yeah. But my brother and my sister, have had like awful experiences. It's really kind of. I could see from even my own family how it luckily it's kind of given them appreciation for their own lives. Of the people that they did know who are not here anymore.
Hey, look, that's part of taking on what we're suffering, right? Like one of the things that comes from a lot of the military kind of stuff is that get to, hey, I'm going to live the life that, like you saved my life, I'm going to live my life to make sure that sacrifice was worth it. And here's the thing, ultimately at the same time, I think there's carrot and stick inside of life. That is sometimes like you're pushing yourself away from X or trying to go towards Y. I think that there's probably something inside of that. Like you could put most of the population or population on that curve. Like most people live in the middle, and they want to get a little bit more money. Let's say they want to become a little bit more rich, and they want to be a little less poor. But which one's your driver? You're probably not sure. And it could be I actually just don't want to be poor. Instead of, I want to be rich. And I think that maybe, unfortunately, it's part of the system that some people just have to die to keep everyone else looking at it and going, and driving people away from it. Because, and this is why this is the problem I have with this, and I can fix it. It's not it's what we're really good at. This is why responsibility works. This is what happened to Will. He looked at his life anyway. Can't stay here anymore. And I don't know this is the case, but this is what I think went through his mind. Can't keep on living the life that I am living. I need to do something to change it. And he stepped inside of every single step of that, and it made it into a better person. Because the assumption of those responsibilities have just pushed him to make sure that he knows that he needs to be better. That's what we need. We need something to fix. That's just who we are. Men, I really believe, as sad as it sounds, men are just animals. We're here to do the heavy lifting, and we're just here to do the heavy lifting.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that's a brilliant area to finish it on. Is that this it's been a fucking pleasure. To be honest with you, man. Thank you very much for spending time with us. And it'd be good to see you again. We can do something like this again in the future. See if everybody's still alive.
Yeah.
Super cool. Thank you very much. Okay.
Pleasure.
All right. Bye.